The vanilla slice is as much part of Australian culinary life as the meat pie and the pavlova. Now, I've bought vanilla slices that have been quite frankly good, and others that have been quite frankly appalling. Take a look at this fine example, for instance. A thick lump of stodge, artificially coloured yellow, is sandwiched between two pieces of thick cardboard, and there's a topping of something quite unusual. What's the answer? How do you get a good vanilla slice? Well, of course, the answer is to make it yourself. My favourite recipe comes from a friend, Irini Germanos, who makes the Greek vanilla slice Galatoboureko. It's actually easier to make than it is to say. The first step is to make a dry mixture. 3/4 of a cup of fine semolina is mixed with a couple of tablespoons of cornflour, and a cup of sugar is stirred in. Now in a saucepan, I boil up 1.5 litres of milk, and I add vanilla pod. I split the vanilla pod open to reveal the seeds, and the whole pod is put into the milk. The pod will be strained out later, but the seeds will stay in the sauce, which becomes a wonderful custard filling. Now, you could also use vanilla essence, but you'd use that later in the process. As the milk approaches boiling temperature, I remove the vanilla pod and slowly add the flour, sugar, and semolina mixture, sprinkling it over the surface and whisking all the time. By the way, I call this my Gala Vanilla Slice because it makes for a gala occasion, served as it is with a lovely lemony sauce. Once I'm happy with the right consistency, and this is absolutely perfect, I remove from the heat and stir in some pieces of unsalted butter, about 3 tablespoons. In a separate bowl, I mix 3 large eggs. Now, if I were using vanilla essence, this is where I would put it in. This is then added to the custard mixture. Now I set it aside to cool and prepare for the assembly. I brush a deep baking tray with melted butter, or you could use an oil, even an oil spray, and take some Filo pastry, which is not as difficult to use as many people think, as long as you have it on a damp tea cloth when you start to work. That'll stop it drying out and crumbling. So the sheet is buttered and put into the tray, and then another one is buttered and put on the top. Once the first 2 sheets are in the bottom, I put some more sheets in sideways so that there's some overlap. Once I've put about 3 thicknesses in, the last 2 sheets I don't need to butter because the mixture will go straight on the top of them. Now I ladle in the cooled custard mixture. It doesn't have to be this cold, it's actually started to firm here. Now more sheets go on, buttering again each time, and again across, allowing for some overlap. Then I fold in the pastry, the sides and the ends, and I put in the oven. About 180 degrees C for around 45 minutes, probably slightly less in a fan-forced oven. While it's baking, I make up a lemon syrup simply by mixing 1.5 cups of sugar with 1 cup of water and the juice and grated rind of a lemon. And a tip here is it's best to grate the lemon first before you squeeze it. It's best not to grate too deeply, otherwise you'll take the pith, and that will make it bitter. No taking the pith. Now this is boiled for 10 minutes or so, and there you have it. Once the slice comes out of the oven, look at that, isn't that fantastic? The sauce is poured over, and it's allowed to cool thoroughly before being served. Onto a plate goes some of the Gala Vanilla Slice. Tangy with its lemon sauce, simply perfect. Degree of difficulty, well, I'd say medium to a tad challenging. Keepability keeps a couple of days in the refrigerator, and preparation time about 25 minutes plus cooking. Now that's what I call a vanilla slice, and not a piece of cardboard in sight. A wine accompaniment? I'd think not. Instead, because it's a Greek recipe, a cup of strong Greek coffee would be bliss. Now the taste test, and this is sure to get my head in a spin.